home. He was with us for quite a number of years, and we had a good relationship together. Now that the partnership has brought him back, we are happy to welcome him back home. I also want to welcome everyone who has made it to attend this important seminar. I wish us a very productive and successful session this afternoon. Thank you very much. Hello, did you hear me?
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, it was very brief. Yes, Professor.
I've said all I wanted to say. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much. Professor Sakajima is representing actually the University of Ibadan on this collaborative research. Next to introduce is Dr. Turayo Alabi of the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture. Actually, we are together in this conference room at IITA. I'd like to welcome Dr. Turayo Alabi to take his opening remarks.
Yeah. Good afternoon, or good morning, or good evening, everyone. We are happy to have this webinar today. And it's a good opportunity for us to have our students, our partner from the United States, University of Delaware here with us. So we like to just, we are sharing something on AI. And today we'll be talking about AI in agriculture. I just want to give a brief 1 or 2 slides. Oh, it's not shared. Sorry. Okay. Where is? I thought you have shared it. No, you need to be is it? Oh. Okay. Okay. Anyway, we just generally today the seminar is about AI in agriculture, and we just want to emphasize the importance of AI in the world where we live today. We know that we're having AI in every sector of life, and it's also important and imperative that AI should be employed in the area of agricultural food monitoring, food system. Moreover, that we are having global food crisis in the whole world, and in Nigeria in particular, we had in recent times some spike on food inflation, and that emphasizes the need to be more smart in the way we manage our crop and food security system. And like we've said, AI is being used in all areas of life. We have AI in medicine, AI in aviation, commerce, and so on. In agriculture, AI is currently being used for monitoring of food security system. Our crop can be monitored from the planting to harvesting. Then we can do crop yield forecasting and prediction through using AI. We can detect pests and disease using AI. Well, you can see my screen. For example, in IT, we have we've used AI to detect banana fields for banana bunch top disease surveillance. We combine satellite imagery from drone imagery, and there's some machine learning algorithm, and then we're able to detect banana fields across Western Africa And that helps us to do a targeted surveillance and control for banana bunch-eater disease. So we want to just show some few examples of what we have used AI to do. Okay. So this is just an example of the use of AI in IITA here. We are using for detecting banana fields for banana bunch-eater disease, and then also we have used AI or machine learning algorithm to predict Excuse me, we were having some technical issues. The Zoom link is going off and on, but then we have said use of AI is everywhere, and we are trying to explore more opportunities in agriculture. Like I had said already, we use AI tools to detect banana field for crop monitoring. We've used AI machine learning tools also for estimating soybean yield for breeders to be able to detect the improved varieties and the kind of variety they can give to the farmers. So we in general, AI it has come, and it's going to be very interesting today as we use as we participate in the seminar. We are going to see more uses of AI tools in agriculture. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Turayo Alabi, for letting us into what has been the contribution of IITA. Yeah. What has been the contribution of IITA into the application of artificial intelligence in mapping some of the mandate crops of IITA? He particularly mentioned banana, and I like banana and plantain actually. Thank you very much. Next, we have had two partners opening remarks. We have Professor Sakajimo representing University of Ibadan, and Dr. Turayo Alabi, who just presented on the activities of IITA. Next is Dr. Seun Adeluyi of NASDA. That's all the way from the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Dr. Adeluyi, if you are ready, can you please unmute yourself? 5 minutes, please.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone. I am Dr. Seun Adeluyi from the National Space Research and Development Agency. We are partners on the project with Dr. Kyle and Dr. Ann with Dr. Turayo, and then Dr. Wali on the use of AI for crop mapping. Dr. Carl just left NASDAQ last week. We just finished having a workshop on the importance of irrigation farming. We investigated the use of space technology and mapping irrigation spots in Nigeria. And we're an Ibadan on crop mapping in Nigeria. We're focused on the North Central Nigeria. We've covered the whole of North Central Nigeria, mapping with the GoPro camera using AI. NASDAQ has conducted so many research on AI for agriculture, and I'll mention a few. We've looked at the biophysical and biochemical properties of rice using different AI algorithms during the different phenological growing stages of rice. We are in partnership with the Chinese government under the Crop Watch to monitor 42 indicators of 5 cereal crops in Nigeria. We have carried out crop inventory mapping of North Central Nigeria using AI. So we understand the importance of AI, and that's why we're keen into this very important workshop. We believe that this workshop will be enlightening and that we'll be able to pick up a lot from it. And thank you very much.
Dr. Adeluyi, all the way from Abuja, Nigeria. Thanks for all that you do. Yes, our team reported back that they were very satisfied with the workshop that took place in Abuja last week. And next, but not the least, on the list of partners is the principal investigator itself, all the way from University of Delaware, United States of America, in person of Dr. Carl Davids. Carl, ready? You can take the phone now.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, from all the places that you're joining. Thank you to Professor Jimoh, to Dr. Alabi, to Dr. Adeluyi for the wonderful opening remarks, and thanks to UI, NASDAQ, IITA for all of their partnership and all that we're undertaking as part of the University of Delaware efforts. So I want to use my opening remarks to lay out kind of the broad project that we're pursuing together amongst our partnerships. And that includes work with NASA Harvest, with University of Maryland, with University of Minnesota, and with Clark University in the United States. And so the broad challenge that we're trying to address is that Nigeria is endowed with abundant natural resources. It's home to millions of farmers. It's the largest food producer in Africa. But at the same time, we face a lot of information challenges in the country where the agricultural statistics that are available, the spatial resolution at which they're available, the number of crops for which they're available, and the timeliness with which they're available is not up to the information needs of a variety of stakeholders in the country. And so our larger project is interested in understanding which crops are grown, where are they grown, and how much and how productive are they. And so we're pursuing an overall vision of developing an open source, publicly available, up-to-date, high-resolution national data set, national database of agricultural statistics that can tell you what the productivity of an individual field or farmer is in a particular location. And so we're pursuing that over 4 main goals. The first is to develop high-resolution cropland maps for the country that are up to date. So we want to map every individual field across the country. The second is to then identify which crops are grown in each of those fields. And so we're working closely with all of our partners to develop maps of staple crops across the country at very high spatial resolutions staple crops and cash crops. And then third is to understand, okay, if we know where each of the fields are, which crop or crops are being grown in each of those fields, how productive are each of those crops? And can we use satellites and machine learning and artificial intelligence to try and quantify that? And so all three of those goals lead into the fourth goal of creating an open source agricultural dataverse for the country of Nigeria, where we can have a comprehensive understanding of cropping patterns and agricultural productivity across the country. So the work that you'll be hearing about today during this webinar is a piece of that, and it's helping to contribute to this larger vision. So I thank all of you again for joining us, and look forward to expanding collaborations and hopefully interacting with many of you in the near future. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Carl Davis, we're from Delaware, now with us in Ibadan, Nigeria. Without much ado, it is now 24 minutes past the hour. We now go to the main gist of today, which is to present to you some of our initial findings on the application of geospatial and artificial intelligence-based tools that we are using to map crops in Oyo State, Nigeria. To do that, because we work together as a team, we have some of our interns. We also use this project to develop capacity of our researchers, next generation of researchers, actually. So we have 4 graduates students working on the program. One of them will be making the presentation, while the rest of us as mentors, we just watch the back and see how they will represent us. To present today and representing the 4 interns is Oluwafemi Oyekunle. Femi, if you are ready, can you share your screen? Thank you.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Wherever it is you're joining us, good morning, good evening. Thank you for joining us. All right. I'll be presenting on a very interesting topic. And on behalf of the other co-authors, Dr. Lawale, Dr. Alabi, Dr. Kyle, Dr. Anan, John Boni, Opeyemi, Olajade Igbe, Oluwafemi Aderemi, which is, it has been said earlier, it is a joint collaboration between the University of Ibadan, IITA, and the University of Delaware. So please, let's dive into this exciting topic of exploring artificial intelligence-based mapping of croplands in Oyo State, Nigeria. Now, what are you expect to see today? What are you expecting to see today? What do you expect to hear today? And these are the outlines of what we'll be going through this afternoon. We're talking about the introduction, the objective of the study, the justification, the methodology, the results, conclusion, and also we'll be discussing the next steps. As it has been, it has been talked earlier about how AI is being integrated into agriculture. So this study would, this presentation would in a way open our eyes to see how far we can go in AI and agriculture. So in Nigeria, as much as it is all over the world, agriculture is very, very important, right? We eat to survive, we eat to go about our day-to-day activities. Apart from that, it is also a source of livelihood for so many farmers, for so many citizens, to be able to go about their day-to-day activities. So it is no longer news that it is very, very important that food security is achieved. And that is why it is being clamored for. So how do we achieve this food security? How do we attain this sustainable farming, sustainable agriculture that we keep on hearing about? And there are many ways which we can achieve that. But today we'll be focusing on a particular aspect of it, which is cropland mapping. Now, why cropland mapping? What benefits do we stand to gain from cropland? Why do we have to map croplands across the world or across a particular location? Cropland mapping will help us to monitor farm activities on the farmland in a particular state. It could be in a particular region. It could be in a country at large, even continents. So cropland mapping will help us to be able to monitor farm activities in these regions and even agricultural practices that is happening all across the region. And this is one way which we can plan better for food security. For example, the Food and Agriculture Organization in 2023 released a data of, they got data from year 2000 to year 2021. And it was estimated that in year 2021, it was estimated that there was 1.6 billion hectares of croplands worldwide. Now, for such an organization to go into that, you could really tell that it is very, very important that mapping of croplands is very important. It's by FAO as well. The average cropland area per person was 0.2 hectare per capita, which is a drop from a drop of 18% since the year 2000. Now, if FAO, an international organization, can know that, oh, there is a decrease of 18% average cropland area per person, what can we do? What improvements do we need to make? How do we make it better? How do we achieve sustainable agriculture? So having this kind of data would help us to achieve the food security that we are clamoring for. How do we map croplands? How do we map croplands? This is a picture of someone on ground mapping a farm location. Now, this traditional way of mapping lands involving ground surveys, whereby you have to go there on ground in the farm, mapping from one farm to another farm to another farm, which is going to take a long period of time. This is what we have been used to. This is what we are used to. There is also another way by which it could be done, which is the visual interpretation of area photography, satellite imagery. And all these have to do with manually taking the stock of farmlands across the nation or the particular location. This can be very time consuming. And apart from the fact that it's time consuming, it is labor intensive. Imagine you want to create a map, cropland map for the whole world, each continent. How do you go about that? So it means that you won't be able to carry out this kind of mapping year by year because of you are limited to only perform it at a particular period of time. And this is where AI comes into play. Now, technology is constantly advancing, and in recent years, we have heard of the emergence of artificial intelligence, of the growth of artificial intelligence. And in agriculture, it is not left out. In cropland mapping, it is not left out. This is revolutionary. As I said earlier, traditional method might take a long period of time, but here we are talking about a fast way of collecting data of crop types all over the world or in a particular location. It is automated. The collection, the classification is automated. Wherever you want to do it, if it is in a particular local government, no problem. If it is in a particular state, no problem. If it is in a country, no problem. Even if it is in the continent, there is no problem because of how fast it is for you to collect the data, to classify the crop types, to analyze it, all using artificial intelligence. Now, using traditional method might warrant the fact that, oh, you can only collect the crop land mapping, you can get the crop land mapping of the whole country, maybe every 4 years, every 3 years, every 2 years, of course, because it is costly. But using artificial intelligence can now enable us to, in a short period of time, get the data we need, such that this food security we are clamoring for, we can quickly achieve it. So what is the objective of this study? Remember, we are exploring artificial intelligence enabled mapping of croplands in Oyo State, Nigeria, to map and classify croplands in 4 local government areas in Oyo State using an AI-enabled technology. Justification of the study, this finding, the finding of this research would assist in the economic planning of Oyo State, and it could also enable even states across Nigeria to utilize this. Other regions can also use this as well. So it will improve agricultural planning, sustainable resource management, and increase food security. Now, the sampling techniques used, it's divided into 2 stages. The first stage involved the selecting of the 4 local government areas in Oyo State based on their agricultural significance. 4 local government areas were selected, which, as shown in this map, we have Itesiwaju local government, Atiba local government, we have Oyo West local government, and Iseyin local government. Oyo State is the largest state in Southwest Nigeria and 14th largest in Nigeria, which is one of the reasons why it was picked for this project. Now, the second stage involved driving through the local government using a GoPro camera, which is the data collection method. You can see from this picture, the GoPro camera is mounted on a vehicle, and this camera is able to capture 2 images every second. That is, for every 0.5 second, you are capturing 1 image each. So high resolution image, 2 per seconds, it's being captured on this GoPro camera. The GoPro photo part, you can see from this diagram, the GoPro photo part is taken for each local government. You can see the red dots and black lines, which shows where the GoPro parts were during the collection of this data. Now, the GoPro camera took images. We had about 200,000 plus images. Over 200,000 images were taken, which is enormous, using the GoPro camera. All these images were all georeferenced automatically by the GoPro camera, and before that, it was taken into ArcGIS, where it was digitized into polygons. This is the polygon we are seeing here. The polygons here represent the farmlands that we could see from the GoPro images that were taken. And whatever crop type that we can see on the images are identified on the ArcGIS software. After digitizing, we could identify the crop types. The cropping patterns were also analyzed. The croplands were also quantified. We could say, okay, from here to here, it's 1 hectare. From here to here, it's 5 hectares. So these were all done on ArcGIS, and these were manually done. But where does artificial intelligence come into play? In this, using GoPro images, it was used and sent using RoboFlow, where it was also analyzed, or we practiced what we call identification of the crop types using RoboFlow. The RoboFlow itself is a software, as you'll be seeing here, it's a software application that is able, you can use it to label whatever it is you want to label, such as it can train artificial intelligence model. But in this case, what we use this RoboFlow software to do was to label crop types across crop types that were taken from the GoPro images. Now, the RoboFlow was able to do that manually. The image were uploaded, beg your pardon, the crops were labeled, and RoboFlow, because it's a machine learning software itself, it's an AI software itself, was able to now predict the kind of crops, because it has learned how to do that when we label the crops on the platform. Now, using the knowledge of the labels, the crops labeled, is able to predict, it gets the coordinates of the images that were labeled on it, and using some other codes and satellite imagery, you can be able to generate maps along the way, which is the final goal of this research work. The end goal of this research, as you can see here, is to generate annual crop type maps for Nigeria. And Oyo State is being used as a pilot study. The image you are seeing here is for an example of where it was used for cashew plantation in Oyo State. Now, imagine having this kind of data for maize, for cassava, for other crop types. And that is where this is the aim of using artificial intelligence, such that we can have this data real time for anyone who wants to make use of it, policies, for stakeholders, for commercial farmers, and so on. Now, to the results and discussions. Here we can see from the chart here, it's showing the total area of mapped croplands in the year 2022 and 2023. The GoPro images were the two images in 2 years. We went to the field for 2 years. The first year in the saying, we could see that the total map area was 6.149 hectares. That's for 2022. In Oyo West, it was mapped to be 64.35 hectares. Atiba had 18.39 hectares, and Itesiwaju had 109 hectares. Now, this is a sample, so it does not necessarily mean every farmland in a saying, or every farmland in Oyo West, or every farmland in Atiba, Itesiwaju local government were mapped. Now, this is a sample of the areas that were mapped. In year 2022, the total number of fields mapped were in Itesiwaju. We have 141 of them. Oyo West had 115, Iseyin had 38, and Atiba had 35. As I said, this does not necessarily mean this is the total number of fields in Iseyin or Itesiwaju or in each of the local governments, but these are the fields that were mapped. And the average field map per local government in Itesiwaju, we have 0.77 hectares. Oyo West had 0.46 hectares. Iseyin had 1.7 hectares, and Atiba had 0.52 hectares. You could see the GoPro path that was taken to map all these farmlands. In 2023, Iseyin, the total area mapped croplands was 213 hectares. In Oyo West, 56 hectares, which were the two major local governments that were mapped. And we have here Oyo West 147 total number of fields mapped, and it's saying 202 total number of fields mapped. Now, this pie chart is showing the crop types in year 2022 and year 2023. We could see from the pie chart that we have a high percentage of maize and cassava. It is the predominant crops in these local governments, maize and cassava. There were other crop types that were noticed, that were observed, including groundnut, yam, soybean, which suggests there's diversification of crops. And this area is a very dynamic agricultural environment. But we also noticed the intercropping of practices being deployed, maize and cassava being planted together, maize and soybean, cassava and pigeon pea and yam together. So we also noticed that there are some farmlands, there were nothing planted on it, which meant it was left for fallowing. So it means that these areas today observe agricultural practices like fallowing, which also helps for the improvement and restoration of soil fertility. All these were seen on ground when the data were taken. Now, this is an example of the polygon, the farmlands, and the kind of crops that were observed. As you can see from this picture, the polygons, the red lines that you can see across the picture on the left-hand side represent polygons or farmlands. On ArcGIS, we term it as polygons, but on you could say they are farmlands of the pictures were taken off, and you could see the extension of a particular farmland which had cassava plants on it. You could also see another one which had maize plants on it. showing you how impressive using GoPro images to get data for these crop types. Conclusion and recommendation. The farmlands from the 4 local governments were sampled to identify different crop types. And we noticed, as I said earlier, maize, cassava, soybean, groundnut, yam, all across the local government areas. Cropping patterns were identified. We noticed monocropping, we observed intercropping, we observed mixed farming method taking place in these local governments. These data can help stakeholders, including farmers, especially commercial farmers, policymakers, international organizations. Earlier, I talked about how the FAO released data and which the data could help in making, in planning and decision making. Next steps. This is still the preliminary stage of using artificial intelligence for cropland mapping, and there's still much to be done, and there's still much to be integrated into it, such that it could benefit anyone wherever they are, in wherever country they are. Now, next steps here involves training more data into RoboFlow. Remember, RoboFlow is a software that you can use to develop the algorithms for this for machine learning and crop identification. This is how we are going to be able to use AI in cropland mapping. Also, the other next steps involve analyzing socioeconomic characteristics of farmers, because the socioeconomic characteristics of farmers in these areas, in these local governments, were collected. So how do we incorporate it into the data that we have gotten, such that is it influencing their food security? Is it influencing access to markets? How is it influencing transaction costs, weather-based index insurance, climate change and adaptation practices? How is it influencing, how do we work together? How does this relate together such that we can make use of it for better planning of the future? These are the references, and I appreciate everyone for listening. Thank you very much. Over to Dr. Lawal.
Thank you very much, Femi, for the wonderful presentation and for representing the team very well. It's now about time for us to ask questions. Do we have anyone who would like to ask questions? You can raise your hand electronically, or you will be recognized, and then you will have to unmute yourself, then you ask the question. Is anyone would like to ask a question? You can put it in the chat room, or you raise your hand and I will invite you to speak. Again, thank you, Femi, for the presentation. Okay, there's the first question here. It says, Femi, can you go through the questions? I will read anyway. My question is, what satellite imagery was used, or is it only the GoPro camera that was used? And can you talk more about AI? This is now jumping around. Or can you talk more about AI to use? Is it integrated? Is it an integrated package? I will call on any member of the team to speak, not necessarily the speaker to respond to the question. So I think the member of the team should go through the questions, and if you are ready, you tell me who would like to answer the question. Dr. Alabi, John Oponi, please prepare to answer the question. This next question is, please, what was the sampling technique to determine the farmlands that were mapped? Okay, what was the sampling technique that was used? I think these two questions are related. To Dr. Alabi is close to me. You want to respond to the question?
Like the student that presented actually said that this is just a kind of preliminary presentation on what they have done. This is part of their own thesis work, and they are okay. So the question that I've been asked, actually the step from GoPro leads us into the real machine learning AI classification of crop type. So he has not been able to go that side because that is still in the pipeline, which we are working on, though the questions are clear, and we actually using Sentinel-2, Sentinel-1, that is SAR, if you are familiar with remote sensing. Those are the two available, although we plan to use Planets also, which is high resolution of something like 2 meters, but basically we will be using Sentinel-1, Sentinel-2 data for the AI pipeline to classify the crop type in Oyo State and some other states in Nigeria. That's actually the plan. That is a work ongoing, a work ongoing now, but which they are not able to present in this seminar. Thank you very much.
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much, Dr. Labi. The other question, I guess anyone can respond to it. John, would like to respond to that question? It's saying that, please, what was the sampling technique that was to determine what farmland to use? I know the answer, but I want I know we got a map of the fields before going to the routes, right? John, come and respond to it. I want to remember to speak.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. The sampling technique that was used in getting or collecting data on farmland was that we had already planned out different routes in the local governments where the vehicle with the GoPro camera mounted with GoPro camera would drive through and capture the different farmlands within the local governments. There are some areas that we are not able to get or go through because of bad road network or some other things. But the paths were already laid out. We used Google Earth to see the layout of the potential farm areas in the local government, and we drew out a route that will go through the different farmlands. And that was how we were able to collect the data for each of those local governments using the GoPro camera. I hope that answers the question. Thank you.
Yes, I'll call. Yes, thank you very much, John. I guess that if you did not receive a satisfactory response to your questions, let me know. We are here to assist and to learn. I saw your hand raised up. Akpeji Adenike, you can now unmute yourself and ask your question, please. We'd like to hear your voice, if that's what you prefer. Unmute, please. Odi, do you need to unmute her? Akpeji, can you unmute yourself, please? Adenike.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay, good afternoon. Can you speak up,
sorry,
please?
I didn't know it was my turn yet. That was a very fantastic presentation. For me, it's I'm in the agribusiness. I'm the CEO of Rennie Golden Multiventures, and it's been a hell of movement within capturing data within smallholder farmers. So we work with smallholder farmers in rural areas, and my question is, can this caption give us also land measurement? Does it include land measurement for us in capturing data? And when is the availability for a sample implementation? For example, we're working in Nasarawa within some geopolitical zones. Are you ready to deploy, or you're still in the test phase? Those are my questions. Thank you very much.
Can you respond to the ones you? It wasn't so clear, but we attempt to respond to your questions. Yes, Femi, can you go first?
Yes, in the presentation, it was shown that I mentioned polygons, the red lines on the farmlands, and these red lines were able to measure the farmlands. I talked about that. On ArcGIS, we call it the polygons. But looking at it, there are farmlands that were drawn using polygons. So we can measure the area of the farmland, and which was why we talked about average hectares in each local government. Because for every local government, it was mentioned that we have so number of hectares. So we can measure the area of farmland. I think that goes for your first question. As regards the second question on deploying, I will hand that over to Dr. Lawal.
Okay. You want to? Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much for the interest. And actually, we said, this is just a preliminary presentation. The GoPro data were collected in about 9 states or 7 states in Nigeria. And so we are just tuning out the data using this avenue. Incidentally, Nasarawa State is one of the states we captured in the north. So, but data is still being analyzed, and so it takes a lot of time because we collected over, let's say, 3 million data points for the GoPro images across the country. So it's a lot of data. The work is ongoing, and we still have much to do to bring out the output for different states. So we can talk more. Maybe you can send us your link or your address so that we can engage more if you are interested in the work. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mrs. Adenike Akpeji. To your question directly, we are ready to deploy. For instance, if you have a set of farmlands that you want it to be georeferenced and mapped, we can use the GoPro camera to assist it. The GoPro camera can be handheld. It can be put on a motorbike with your helmet. It can be put on a car. It can also be put on a drone. So depending on the area of land, we can actually assist you to map. So you can contact us for further information. I don't seem to see any other questions in the chat room, but in case you want to ask questions, you are free to raise your hand, and we invite you to ask your questions or comments or suggestions or advice for us. Okay, thank you. I wait 1 minute more. We are rounding off on soon. We have just 2 minutes, no, 4 minutes to closing this section. Now, let me say that for those who are interested, we will follow up with you. You can reach us via the WhatsApp messages link that you got this information. I know we will share this information about the webinar on different platforms on WhatsApp. You can also send us your email address on the link in the chat room now. Somebody will note and get back to you. Really appreciate it. Okay, thank you. Okay, just to also add, this is currently being done in Nigeria, but as we said in the presentation, it can be done in any part of the world, right? So in case you are, we know there are a lot of researchers on this platform today. In case you want to incorporate it, actually GIS or AI is something that can be integrated into any study. So in case you are interested in carrying out any study that you are trying to see how can I apply geospatial analysis or artificial intelligence into what I'm currently doing, you may reach out to us. We have partners around the world. I just told you that our collaborator in the room even now is from the United States of America. So we can also get in touch with other partners around the continent, around the world, in case there's something that is outside our own coverage. You can help you to link to other areas. Yes, I see a hand up. Ojo Duke, would you like to unmute yourself, please?
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone.
Please go ahead. You're already unmuted, please.
Yes, can you hear me, sir? Prof. Can you hear me,
make it
Prof?
audible, please? Yes.
Is it audible? Can you hear me?
Yes. Now.
Okay,
better now.
okay. Well, that was a very wonderful presentation. Femi, thank you very much, and the entire team. So I think watching this presentation was a little bit nostalgic for me because I happened to be part of the project at a point, and it was a really interesting project, I must say. For those who are wondering what this particular technology can do for them, I can tell you for free, the extent and the application is almost endless. This is just an aspect of agriculture that is being presented, and I think the presenter himself and the other student team members have done a very fantastic job. And this is just the beginning, actually. Dr. Alabi has been working on this front, for a very long time, and turning out amazing research output from this domain. So yeah, I'm quite impressed, and I'm happy that we're actually progressing in our work in this domain. And I want to say shout out to the professor from University in the USA. You're welcome, sir. And for everyone who joined the call also, thank you very much indeed. I'm excited to be here. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that's largely comments from our colleague and part of the team, actually. He just moved to India at the beginning of this year, so for his PhD work. Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much again. Okay. Thank you very much again, Patrick, for the comments and encouragement that we have received from you. We have more questions in the chat room. This particular question from Okwani Undukwe, which I would like my colleague Kai Davis to respond to. Kai, please.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the question. So how powerful is the camera to capture the farmlands knowing full well how our road in Nigeria, which does not cover farmlands? Okay, so as Dr. Olaide said, the vehicle that you mount the GoPro camera on, or whether it's handheld and carried through a landscape, gives you flexibility in terms of accessing farmlands that are maybe not immediately adjacent to the road. Another benefit of the GoPro is that it's built for action sports, and so even if you're going over bumpy terrain and the camera may be shaking around a lot, it's able to capture very clear images. And so for those reasons, it's a beneficial technology for being able to capture farmlands in a variety of ways. But another aspect to answer related to your question is that it's only able to capture those fields and those crops that are immediately adjacent to where you're traveling. So if you're taking a road, or you're taking a bike path, or you're taking a footpath, it's only meant to capture those that are right there, not ones that are off on a distant hillside or anything like that. It's too far away for artificial intelligence to be able to reliably identify what those crops would be, even if we might be able to identify them ourselves. So it's most suitable for being able to map those farmlands that you're able to pass immediately adjacent to. Thank you.
Okay, there's the last one, just on time, that came in. It says, okay, maybe it's not the last one. There's this question on, this is a good one. I'm in sociology, but it will interest me to do collaborative research. Yes, Elizabeth, you are welcome to join our team. You can follow up with us after this presentation. Adeleke again, you say, what if it's captured with a drone? Is it the same capture range? Yes, I think, yes, say the camera has high resolution, it's still as powerful even at the distance. So whether close or very far away, there's also a way of calculating or adjusting the images to exact location where you want to capture, even from wherever, whether from the road or from area above the ground. Yes, Dr. Labi want to say something.
A drone will be a complementary technology for the GoPro. While a drone is very good for a landscape kind of mapping, the GoPro is able to traverse a lot of distances using your vehicle or motorbike, and you can go around a whole state within 1 or 2 weeks, and you have captured a lot. But you know, flying a drone is a bit not easy. It's cumbersome in some places. It's restricted. Though we also did some drone data capturing at the beginning of this project. So we also appreciate the value of a drone, which is also important.
In training.
How can we get trained? Yeah, you have to, I think you need to connect with us. It's not difficult to get trained on how to use it. The only thing is how to get one camera yourself. That's the main thing, although it's not also too difficult to get because you can buy it online, I think. Yeah, so it's available online. Okay, about $500 or $500 to $600 a whole kit of the GoPro camera. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much, everybody. I like the last part of this. That is because I love trading. I love sharing experiences, and our team would like to train more people in using the GoPro camera. We can tentatively, by the side yesterday, we're discussing what can we do next concerning these activities. We thought that we may need to engage in more activities. So we can include this as part of our future activities to train more people. Maybe at some point we get out a flyer to ask for people who are interested. If you want us to keep your contact with us, as I said, send us your email address on the screen now. We'll collect the email addresses. Then when we are ready for the training, we'll also let you know. But also know that there's also a possibility of getting the camera. And if you need to get the camera before the training, so we'll leave enough time for you to get the camera and allow it to be sent to you before the commencement of the training. So without much ado, I want to thank you on behalf of our team from Abuja, NAFDA, Ibadan, IITA, and Department of Sustainability Studies, University of Ibadan, as well as our colleagues from University of Delaware, from the United States of America. We thank you for the interest in that you have shown in this research. As we said, is something that is developing, and each step of the way we are learning new things, and we also encourage you to join our team. I have an announcement. I said earlier that we, through this project, this first year more or less, we use it to train 4 students from the Department of Sustainability Studies. And the application for into those programs are now on sale through the Postgraduate College of the University of Ibadan. If you are interested in the Masters in Development Practice, Masters in Sustainability, Sustainable Development Practice, Masters in Climate and Society, Master in Tourism and Development, Master in Indigenous Knowledge and Development, as well as integrated approaches, integrated Masters in Agriculture. So you are invited to log into the Postgraduate College of the University of Ibadan. You will get to know. Our students are exposed to all our projects. So they are our graduate research assistants to all the projects we undertake in the department. It will be good to have you. We have both professional and academic programs, and we are flexible with our lecture timetable. It's not online or distance learning, but we are flexible. We run hybrid programs. So we have some of our lectures online and others are on site, especially examinations, of course, we have to be taken on site. So we look forward to receiving your application. Application closes April 12, just 1 week after it starts thereabout. So please join us at the fact and our students, so great students from our department to experience these revolutionary approaches to research and development around the world. Thank you very much. My name again is Olawale Olaide from Department of Sustainability Studies. Have a great day. Bye.